In this video, we'll be looking at some problems from the Accuplacer. Question number 1. Remember to get to the question sentence first. What is the area in square meters of the triangle in terms of h and t? So we want the area of a triangle. Recall the formula for area of a triangle is area equals 1/2 base times height. Well, in our particular triangle, they tell us the left side here is h, the right side is t. The hypotenuse over here is t. So we need to find the length of the bottom portion of the rectangle. We could call it the base. Remember the Pythagorean theorem. A squared plus b squared is equal to c squared. In this case, t, our hypotenuse, is the c. H is our height, and I'm going to call this bottom side the base, question mark. That's what we're trying to find. So in our case, h squared plus question mark squared, what we're looking to find, will be t squared. When using the equation associated with the Pythagorean theorem, it's essential that you identify the hypotenuse. The other two are interchangeable because addition, the order doesn't matter. But in this case, our hypotenuse, the side across from the right angle, is t. So we're going to solve for question mark now, subtracting h squared on both sides. That leaves question mark squared is t squared minus h squared. Thus, we will take the square root of both sides. And question mark would equal this quantity here, the square root of t squared minus h squared. Now we're ready to substitute that in our formula. 1/2. The base is that question mark. It is this quantity underneath the square root. So, square root of t squared minus h squared. The height is just h. There it is. And this statement is equivalent to c. You can see that 2 in the denominator, that's at 1/2, will be in the denominator, and h is in the numerator. We can change the order of these because they're multiplication. C is the best answer. Number 2, get to the question sentence first. In terms of x, what is the length of the side of the garden against the wall? So we're looking for this length here. What is this length? All right, it says a rectangular garden shown above is enclosed by 60 feet of fencing on 3 sides of the wall, on 3 sides, and by wall on the 4th side. One of the sides of the garden that is perpendicular to the wall is x feet long. So if this side is length x, the opposite side must be length x. Well, if this side over here is question mark, then we can call this one question mark as well. They would be congruent. Opposite sides of a rectangle are congruent. Thus, we know that the 3 sides added together will be equal to 60. So x plus question mark plus x is equal to 60. Combining like terms, x plus x is 2x. So we have 2x plus question mark is 60. Solving for question mark, we'll subtract 2x on both sides. Question mark will equal 60 minus 2x. And that is D. Number 3, get to the question sentence first. What is the actual distance between the two towns? A map is drawn to scale so that a length of 1 centimeter on the map represents an actual distance of 3 kilometers. If two towns are 20 centimeters apart, well, hopefully you can immediately see it's going to be 60. If 1 centimeter is 3 kilometers, then 20 centimeters would be 20 times that. But I want to show a good way to handle this is a proportional relationship. You've been working problems like this your whole life. Start by making a word, what I call a word fraction. That's just literally a fraction with words. In this case, the two quantities we're comparing are centimeters and kilometers. This is just going to help keep your fractions straight. So it tells us 1 centimeter is 3 kilometers. 1 centimeter is 3 kilometers. In my proportion, I'm setting up the centimeters over the kilometers. We're going to set that equal to 20 centimeters. That would be in the top, the numerator, because that's where we're placing our centimeters, over some number of kilometers. Well, that's what we're looking for. I'm going to let this be x. All right. A fraction equaling a fraction is called a proportion. When we have a proportion, we can cross multiply. So 1 centimeter times x will simply be x. And I could include that centimeter, and you will see that how this is going to cancel when we do that. You don't need the centimeters. Know that what you end up with will be kilometers, but here you'll clearly see the cancelization work out. In this case, I'm multiplying here. 3 times 20 is 60. And we have centimeters and kilometers. I'm going to write that in. Times centimeters and kilometers. All right. Now solving for x, I'm simply going to divide by centimeters. When we do, you see the centimeters cancel out. The 1 we don't have to divide by. I'm left with x is 60 kilometers. 60 kilometers. Again, you didn't have to put those units in. Just know that the variable was in our kilometers part. It was definitely going to be in kilometers. 60 is C. Number 4. Which of the following is not equivalent? We're looking for not an equivalent statement. Well, we could distribute each one of these and see. Distributing 3x minus 12, 3x minus 12 over the parentheses x plus 4. We'll multiply 3x times both, and then 12 times both. Remember the acronym FOIL if you find it helpful. First, outer, inner, last. The first is 3x times x. That's 3x squared. The outer product is 3x times 4. That's 12x. The inner product is negative 12 times x. That's a minus 12x. The last two terms in each of our binomials is negative 12 times plus 4. That's a minus 48. Note that when we go to combine like terms, these are additive inverses. They will sum to 0, leaving 3x squared minus 48. All right, so we just want to know which one of these are not that. Well, clearly C is. It's exactly that. If you distribute this one, it's going to be that as well. We have a 3x squared minus 48. All right. If you distribute this bottom one, you'll see it's going to be the same. 3x times x is a 3x squared. 3x times 4 will be a 12x. Negative 12 times x will be a negative 12x. Again, you can see those additive inverses. And negative 12 times 4 is a minus 48. Again, you see the cancelization of those inner two, and we have the same quantity. So the one that is not is a number 5. Which of the following is a factor of? We want to factor this trinomial. Well, let's get to factoring it. Yeah, this is a problem. We can employ the BX method. Remember that the bottom is going to be a times c. In this case, that's a plus 16. The top is going to be minus 8. That's our b. But note this is an x to the 4th. It's going to be just like previously, except the first term is not going to be x times x. It's going to be x squared times x squared. X squared times x squared is x to the 4th. When this last operator is an addition, we're going to get two of these signs. In this case, minus, minus. If the last operator is an addition, there will be two of the first one, minus, minus. So what multiplies to give 16 yet adds to give 8? Well, that's going to be negative 4 and negative 4. Negative 4 times negative 4 is positive 16. Negative 4 plus negative 4 is negative 8. So we have minus 4 and minus 4. Well, I hope that you see that this is a difference of 2 squares. It's our most important factoring form. We've looked at this over and over and over again. When you have 2 terms and a subtraction in between, x times x yields x squared, 2 times minus 2 is minus 4, and the inner 2 and the outer 2 will cancel their additive inverses. Same thing for this other one. Well, hopefully now you see you got 2x plus 2s. I could write that as x plus 2 squared. And I have 2x minus 2s. I could write that as x minus 2 squared. So, a couple different ways we can factor this one. It says which of the following is a factor? Well, x minus 1 is not a factor, nor is x minus 4. But we can see that x squared minus 4 is. That factor occurs twice. X squared minus 4, not x squared minus 2. All right. Number 6, question sentence first. What is the y-intercept? We're looking for the y-intercept. Recall that the y-intercept is the y value where x is 0. Generically, we call it b, but the point is it's associated with this point where we cross the y-axis, but it is that y value, not the point, but the y value. So all we're going to do is let x be 0. In this case, we have y equals 6 parentheses x minus 1/2, x plus 3. We are simply going to substitute 0 in for x. To find the y-intercept, you can let x be 0. So we have 6 times 0 minus 1/2 and 0 plus 3. Well, 0 minus 1/2 is a negative 1/2. 0 plus 3 is 3. Negative 1/2 times 6 is a negative 3. Negative 3 times positive 3 is a negative 9. The answer will be negative 9. That concludes this video. I will make a separate video for 7 through 12.